Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordan Stuper, and all I do is talk about sales so that you can make more sales. And today I want to talk to you about a pretty popular topic in sales. It's this little thing called objections. You know, the thing that you hear in the close that usually keeps you from making more money. I want to dig on that because salespeople love talking about the close. They love talking about objections, and they love learning about objections and word tracks and information that they can use to overcome objections. Because if you can, you'll make more money. There's literally hundreds, if not thousands of videos here on YouTube about objections, and this might very well be the best lesson that you will find about objections. Now, you might be asking yourself, why? How is this going to be the best one? Well, because I'm going to go a little bit deeper than just the words that you might want to say to help close a deal. In this video, I'm going to give you the game on the science behind objections and the psychology behind objections, and discuss a bit about where they come from and how you can use one simple, easy approach to literally squash all objections. And here's the secret. It is not so much about what you say to respond as much as how you're able to get your customer to think logically. And if you're able to nail that, then you will unlock a lot more deals and make a lot more money, and most importantly, help your customers do what's in their own best interest to do, which is buy your stuff. Okay, first, let's talk a little bit about the psychology. I'm not a very good drawer, and we'll just pretend that this right here is a human brain. Inside the human brain, you've got two sides. On one side, you have the logical side of the brain, and then on the other side, you have the emotional side. Now, it's pretty much true that you'll never really make a great decision when you're operating on emotion. I know I haven't in my business or in my life. And so obviously with your customers in mind, when they're looking at whatever it is that you sell, it is pretty likely in the sales process that they're going to become somewhat emotionally charged behind your product, your service, or whatever it is that you're showing them. In fact, there is a saying in sales, and you've probably heard it, that people buy off of emotion and they close with logic. Now, the thing that most salespeople are kind of getting wrong, or maybe not fully understanding, is the fact that in that sales pitch, your customer is becoming emotional, but most salespeople are missing the idea of closing them with logic, which is where this whole conversation really gets important. Ultimately, on this emotional side of things, your customer is making a lot of decisions that they make based on their subconscious. They're kind of running the plays or the experiences or thoughts that they've had in the past, and they're literally subconsciously trying to avoid making some other type of mistake. But don't take that from me, okay? I actually have some notes that, according to a study in the behavioral science and policy, whoever came up with that, the human brain is wired to avoid losses more than they are seeking gains. And this phenomenon called loss aversion plays a huge role in sales objections. Another note from the Harvard Business Review found that 95%, I'll say it again, 95% of purchasing decisions are made subconsciously before the logical mind rationalizes them. Now, if you happen to be familiar with the Pareto principle, which is basically the 80-20 rule, then we could say that it's fair to say that about 20% of all decisions are actually logical versus 80% of the decisions that most people make are usually emotional. So, how do you snap your customer out of that in the close when your paycheck is on the line? Ultimately, that's what we're going to dig into a little bit more. When a customer says that I need to think about it, for example, what they're really saying is, I'm scared of making a mistake. Your job as a sales professional is to guide them from their emotional brain and snap them into some type of logic or reason or rationale so that they can make the right decision. And the best way to do that is by asking the right questions. If there's one thing that you could remember from this video, it is going to be the fact that questions equal logic. That is how you get your customer to make these logical, informed, rational, well thought through decisions is by asking better questions. When customers are stuck in their emotional brain, they need help moving to that rational thought so that they can make a good decision. And that's where questions come in. Instead of pushing harder or being aggressive or using old school, just lean hard on the pen type of closing tactics or defending your product, all you really have to do is just ask questions that help your customer think logically about their decision. For example, one of my absolute favorite questions to ask when somebody tells me that this product or whatever I'm selling them is outside of their budget, the first thing that I like to do is I like to think, budget. Where does a budget come from? How many people actually have one? And by God, how many people go over budget all the time for things that they love, things that they want, things that they really value? So when I'm in a sales scenario and a customer's giving me a budget objection, hey, this is outside of our budget or what we were hoping to pay for this, the first thing that I want to do is ask my favorite question for this type of scenario. And it always starts with when. Because what I want to do with the word when is I want to take my customer back to a logical memory, not in their subconscious, but consciously thinking of a time that they went over budget. But what I like to do is I like to kind of reframe the way that they're looking at the last time they maybe went out of budget by saying, when is the last time that you truly regretted going a little bit outside of budget for something that you really wanted or a better product, service, or experience? When you ask that question to a customer, it is likely to have the same exact effect that I might have just had on you, where you're literally consciously thinking, you're trying to pick out from all of the memories that you have in the 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years that you've been alive, you're trying to think of a time where you spent a little bit more money than you could and really regretted it. Truth is that you probably can't think of a time that you truly regretted going over budget or paying a little bit more than you could have for a better product, a better service, or better experience. I am pretty sure that none of you guys have ever found yourselves crying in first class, paying more than you could have to sit coach with all the broke people because it costs more. No, you were thinking about the extra leg room, the actual glass that you get to drink out of, maybe the free alcoholic beverages that they give you, and the warm towel, hot nuts, or whatever type of service you get there in first class. That's what you're prioritizing, and that's what you're remembering. So, tying all this back together, when I ask that question about when was the last time, all that I'm really doing is I'm reframing the way that you're looking at this thing being out of budget. Assuming, obviously, that you can afford my product and you have some type of need or want for it, all I'm going to do is ask this question to reframe the way that your subconscious or your brain moves from the subconscious and moves into the neocortex, which would be the rational center of your brain that is responsible for making logical decisions. Now, it is pretty important to understand that today's buyers, the people that you're talking to in today's economy right now here in 2025, today's buyer is different, okay? These are the most educated, sophisticated buyers that you've ever had to deal with. And so because they're so informed, it means that they've done their research, they've read reviews, they've compared options, probably before they even met you. And that means that they're not looking for some type of pushy, aggressive salesperson. They're looking for a guide, an advisor, a consultant that they can trust to help them make that best decision. Now, access to information is important. 75% of buyers spend time online doing research before ever talking to a sales rep. That goes across the board, every industry, so think on that. Also understand that customers are usually pretty cautious due to previous experience with pushy sales tactics or just the fact that they made a bad decision in the past. And according to Edelman Trust Barometer, I don't know where people get these names, 81% of people are more likely to buy from somebody that they trust. So it's important that you use this technique of asking gentle questions that talk a little bit about the past to finesse your way into the logical side of what your customer is thinking so that they can come to their own conclusion that they should buy your stuff. So if you really want to know some type of formula or way that you can proceed with handling objections, I want you to use my objection handling formula. This is something that is written on every single one of the cash cards that I actually created that are literally flying off the shelves every single day. The formula is easy. It is A-R-T plus a question mark. The A stands for acknowledge your customer. The R stands for reply or respond. The T and the question stands for transition away from the objection with a logic-based question. Again, very similar to the budget objection I gave you. You're getting a budget objection. This is out of our budget. You would say, with your acknowledgement, I completely understand, reply, that this is outside of your budget or more than what you were looking to spend. By the way, and out of curiosity, transitioning with a question, when is the last time that you truly regretted going over budget or spending a little bit more than you wanted to for something that you truly valued, a better product, a better service, or a better experience? Then all you have to do is literally just zip it. Your customer is going to go through all the files and folders, their G drive in their head about all the experiences and memories that they have to draw their own conclusion that they have never regretted paying a little bit more than they could have for something that they truly valued, something that was better, something that gave them a better experience, or something that they truly wanted. It has literally never happened to you, it's never happened to me, and it certainly has never happened to any of your customers. Hey, if you're getting any value from this video or any of my other content and it's helping you grow your sales and make more money, then now would be a good time to hit the subscribe button below so you never miss out on any future content and can continue building your business. Now, of course, that is just one objection. There's gonna be a whole lot more that you're gonna wanna be prepared for and have a game plan for, which is why I would take this quick little moment to remind you that there are some links in the description notes below. If you wanna hit that, I would highly recommend grabbing a deck of my cash cards, flashcards for closers, so that you can grab the #1 sales objection training tool ever created. So again, here's the takeaway from this video. You're gonna have customers that are going to be making most of their decisions from the emotional side of their brain. This is not good for you, the salesperson, or for you, the business owner, because again, nobody really makes a great decision when they're feeling emotional. So you're going to want to use questions as the bridge to get them to start thinking from a logical perspective. Again, it is very logical, honestly, for your customer to tell you that what they're looking at purchasing from you might not fit their budget. That makes a lot of sense. Going over budget, spending too much money, going into debt, or making that bad type of financial decision isn't a good decision. However, if they do really want what you have, and they do have a way of ethically affording what it is that you sell, you're again going to want to use questions to help over or out logic your customer. Because as though it might be logical for your customer to say, this is outside my budget, it is also equally, if not more logical, for you to ask them a time that they truly regretted going a little bit outside of their budget for something that they really enjoyed. Now, of course, like I mentioned, there's a whole lot of additional objections and things to be prepared for. And again, I have a ton of different resources on that, but this video right here is really to go on the underlying, under the surface area of where these objections are coming up from and give you at least a little bit of a framework to follow the next time that you're dealing with an objection of, I need to talk to my wife, it's outside my budget, we need to think about this, we're gonna do this later on, whatever that is. Again, remember, a lot of these objections are coming from an emotional place, and it is your job in sales to move that conversation to a logical, rational place in their brain so that they can make a good decision. And if you're able to do that, all you're gonna do is make more money. And if you're interested in making more money, the next logical step for you would be clicking the link in the description notes and getting yourself familiar with some of the other things that we do over here at Stupar Enterprises, where we help normal salespeople get rich in their sales jobs. And of course, I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out and thanks for watching. Oh, and by the way, if you enjoyed this, make sure you let me know in the comments down below. Hey, it's Jordan Stuper. Thanks so much for watching my content. If you enjoyed it, now would be a good time as well to hit the subscribe button so that you never miss a beat. And by the way, if you're truly interested in taking your team, your sales, and revenue to $10 million and beyond, then I would encourage you to hit the link in the description so that you can chat with us. We're looking for a couple more businesses here in 2025 where we can help double your sales and take you to $10 million a year. We do a whole lot more than just YouTube, and I would love to connect with other ambitious, growth-oriented entrepreneurs like yourself. If nothing else, I'll see you in the next video.